Hello viewers, I'm your host Pratiksha Mishra with another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show. As the dust settled on India's electoral battlefield, Prime Minister Narendra Modi emerged victorious, securing a historic third term in office. His resounding win under the Bharatiya Janata Party-led National Democratic Alliance has not only reaffirmed the nation's faith in his leadership but also heralded a new era of development and progress. With global leaders extending warm regards and congratulations, there's a palpable sense of optimism about the future of India's relations on the international stage. Take a look.
The resounding victory of the Bharatiya Janata Party-led National Democratic Alliance coalition in the Indian elections marked a historic milestone, paving the way for Prime Minister Narendra Modi to assume an unprecedented third term. This triumph reaffirmed the unwavering support for PM Modi's leadership in the country. In his first remarks following the election results, Prime Minister Modi expressed profound gratitude to the people for once again entrusting his alliance with their mandate.
और इस पावन दिन एनडीए की लगातार तीसरी बार सरकार बननी तय है। हम सभी जनता जनार्दन के बहुत आभारी हैं। देशवासियों ने भाजपा पर, एनडीए पर पूर्ण विश्वास जताया है।
In his address, PM Modi extended gratitude to the Election Commission for conducting the extensive election exercise, emphasizing the pride Indians feel in the credibility of the electoral process.
विकसित भारत के हमें निरंतर बड़े फैसले लेने हैं।
Additionally, he affirmed that Indians will collectively steer the country towards development, envisaging a new era of significant decisions in this third term.
हम भारतीय मिलकर चलेंगे, देश को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। तीसरे कार्यकाल में देश बड़े फैसलों का एक नया अध्याय लिखेगा।
In the aftermath of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's triumphant re-election, leaders from around the world extended their warm regards and congratulations, paving the way for a renewed sense of cooperation and friendship. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni congratulated PM Modi and affirmed their commitment to strengthening the ties between Italy and India, while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu conveyed warm regards to PM Modi for his third consecutive victory, expressing hope for the continued growth of the friendship between India and Israel. Meanwhile, Bhutan Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay tweeted his felicitations to PM Modi and expressed enthusiasm for bolstering bilateral relations, praising Modi's efforts in enhancing India's standing. Additionally, Nepali Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal extended his congratulations to PM Modi for securing a third consecutive term in office. Despite ongoing diplomatic tensions, Mohammad Muizzu, President of the Maldives, expressed optimism about cooperating with India to pursue common interests and achieve stability and prosperity for both nations. The widespread congratulatory messages from global leaders reflected a renewed era of collaboration and friendship. The expressions of goodwill from various nations underscored the positive outlook for India's future relations. This collective sentiment sets a promising foundation for strengthened partnerships and shared progress on the international stage.
Let's now move to Nepal, where a centuries-old custom faces the risk of being lost. Honey hunting has been a crucial lifeline for several communities in Nepal. aiding to their sustenance and income generation. However, with the gradual decline in bee population and the disappearance of their habitats, villagers are growing increasingly anxious. Former honey hunters are now voicing their apprehensions, pondering over the changing environmental dynamics and recalling the ingenious solution devised by their ancestors. Take a look. In Nepal, the ancient tradition of honey hunting is facing a dire threat. For generations, the Gurung community, along with their counterparts in Lamjung and Kaski districts, have relied on honey hunting not just as a cultural practice, but also as a vital source of income alongside their agriculture pursuits. However, this year brings a cloud of concern as the villagers witness a noticeable decline in bee numbers and hives. Chandra Singh Gurung, a former honey hunter, voices the collective worry that permeates through the community.
जेट लगाएपछि मह काट्ने सुरु गर्छ अलिअलि पैसा त आउने भयो भनेर सुरु गर्नु लागेको त मह आउँदै आएन यसपालि के भयो न त्यो पानी नभएर नआओ कि रुख ढाल्दिएर नआओ कि पर्दा अलिअलि आथ्यो अहिले साल त 10-12 नै आएन सर के गर्ने होला भन्दै सोचिरा गाउँले सबै सोचिराहा.
Another former honey hunter, Dam Bahadur Gurung, expresses his deep concern about the deteriorating condition of the environment in their region. He highlights how the once thriving grazing lands have turned desolate, devoid of life, and even the honeybees, essential to their traditional honey hunting, have suffered a similar fate. He reminisces about the wisdom of their ancestors who understood the crucial relationship between trees and honeybees.
यहाँ गाई चर्ने ठाउँ कस्तो विनाश भइसकेको छ यहाँ विद्युत के रे हाम्रो मौरी घरमा पनि कति विनाश भइसकेको छ पहिले बुढापाकाले यत्रो रुख पनि यत्रो सानो रुख पनि काट्नु नदिने थिए किन भन्दाखेरि त्यो मौरी आउँदैन के रे रुख छलमा यहाँ भिरको कुनामा रुख हुन्छ रुख वरिपरि चाहिँ काट्नै हुँदैन भन्थे.
The decline in bee population is attributed to various factors, including the increasingly erratic weather patterns that have become characteristics of the region. Furthermore, the rise in Earth's temperature, as noted by the International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, has exacerbated these challenges. With the dwindling bee population comes a decline in pollination, affecting crop yields and the proliferation of wild flora essential for the ecosystem's balance. As the community of honey hunters grapples with these environmental upheavals, there arises a collective call for action to preserve their age-old tradition of honey hunting. Initiatives aimed at conservation and sustainable practices gain momentum as the villagers unite in their determination to safeguard both their cultural heritage and the delicate ecosystem upon which it depends. Time now for Asia This Week, the stories from across the continent.
A delegation from Afghanistan's Taliban government was at the opening day of Russia's biggest annual economic forum in St. Petersburg on June 5th. Since the Taliban seized power in August 2021 as US-led forces withdrew after 20 years of war, Russia has been slowly building ties with the Taliban, though the movement is still officially outlawed in Russia. The St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, which once hosted Western CEOs and investment bankers from London and New York, has changed significantly amid the Ukraine war, which has triggered the biggest crisis in Russia's relations with the West since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. Western investors seeking a slice of Russia's vast resource wealth have now been replaced by the businesses from China, India, Africa, and the Middle East. Thousands of Israeli police deployed in the streets of Jerusalem on June 5th for the annual Flag Day procession that marks Israel's capture of East Jerusalem in 1967 and has in the past led to clashes between marchers and Palestinians. There were minor scuffles in the old city which saw police leading away some marchers and standing outside a Palestinian shop, preventing marchers from approaching it. The walled old city of Jerusalem, home to some of the holiest sites of the Jewish, Muslim, and Christian religions, has been a regular flashpoint for trouble, often from visitors from outside the area, where the three communities live in close proximity among the narrow alleyways. The march this year takes place as the war in Gaza approaches the start of its 9th month, adding to concerns of wider violence. Sporting and entertainment events took place at the East Pyongyang Stadium on June 5th to celebrate the 78th anniversary of the founding of the Korean Children's Union. A video provided by the Korean Central News Agency showed some children participating in a variety of games with others cheering them on. The finals of the 9th National Children's Football Games were also held at the event.
Moving on. The concerns over mismanagement of projects in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir are reaching a boiling point. Zahid Amin Kashif, the former chairman of the Prime Minister's Inspection and Import Commission, has sounded the alarm over what he describes as the failure of the current administration to deliver on its promises. Let's delve deeper into the issues highlighted by Kashif.
The mismanagement of projects in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir has become a pressing concern, raising questions about governance, transparency, and accountability within the region. Numerous instances of inefficiency, delays, and allegations of corruption have marred the execution of vital infrastructure initiatives, leaving POJK's residents frustrated and disillusioned. One of the glaring issues plaguing POJK is the failure to deliver on promised mega projects. Despite assurances from the administration, the past financial year saw a conspicuous absence of profitable ventures. Even smaller scale projects with budgets as modest as 2 crore failed to materialize, reflecting a systematic breakdown in project planning and execution. Zahid Amin Kashif, the former chairman of the Prime Minister's Inspection and Import Commission or POJK, recently raised his voice against the wrongdoings of the current administration in the region.
इस एक तरक्याती साल में जिसमें वज़ीर आज़म चौधरी अनवारुल हक साहिब रहे हैं और हैं, एक नया मेगा प्रोजेक्ट भी मुजफ्फराबाद को, जिसे आप दारुल हुकूमत आज़ाद कश्मीर का कहते हैं और कैपिटल सिटी कहते हैं, और ये एक हल्का भी है, पूरी एक इंतखाबी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी भी है, एक तरक्याती मेगा प्रोजेक्ट, बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट 6 करोड़ 2 करोड़ से ऊपर का एक भी नहीं मिल सका। 30 करोड़ 40 करोड़ की तो बात की बात है। ना सिर्फ ये हुआ बल्कि जो जारिया प्रोजेक्ट्स थे जितने भी थे उन्हें इन्होंने तरीके से स्विच उनका ऑफ कर दिया, मुंजमद जिसे कहते हैं फ्रीज कर देना, ताकि लोग समझें।
In his scathing critique, Kashif lays bare the stark reality of administrative failures in POJK, revealing a litany of broken promises and systematic deficiencies.
4 चौक थे मुजफ्फराबाद के, एक चौक पे अभी काम थोड़ा थोड़ा आहिस्ता जारी है और 3 चौकों को इन्होंने ऑफ कर दिया। अंदाज़ा कीजिए बाशिंदगान मुजफ्फराबाद, एक RCC पुल मंजूर शुदा है जिसे चेला RCC ब्रिज कहते हैं, 156 मीटर जिसकी लेंथ है। माहिरीन के मुताबिक मौजूदा चेला ब्रिज की मुद्दत पूरी हो चुकी है, खतरनाक हालत में।
As the echoes of Zahid Amin Kashif's revelations reverberate across Muzaffarabad, it's clear that the concerns over administrative failures in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir have reached a critical juncture. The allegations of mismanagement, corruption, and neglect have struck a chord with residents who are growing increasingly disillusioned with the current state of affairs. Kashif's stark assessment sheds light on the systematic breakdown in governance, transparency, and accountability within POJK. The failure to deliver on promised mega projects, the abandonment of crucial infrastructure initiatives, and the absence of key officials during vital planning phases paint a grim picture of an administration in disarray.
In the Indian city of Jaipur, a beacon of hope shines brightly through the efforts of Manu Kamboj, a dedicated gymnastics coach and recipient of the prestigious National Youth Award. At a local sports academy, Manu mentors children and teenagers from economically disadvantaged backgrounds, guiding them through a rigorous gymnastics training program. With his expertise and encouragement, young athletes are not only honing their skills but also striving to achieve excellence in the sports. However, Manu's influence transcends the boundaries of sports, reaching into broader spheres of community impact. Take a look.
Immersed in a rigorous gymnastics training program at a sports academy in India's Jaipur, these children and teenagers from economically disadvantaged backgrounds are working hard to excel in these sports. Under the expert guidance of Manu Kamboj, a highly educated and nationally certified gymnastics coach, they are striving to improve their skills and achieve success. A recipient of the National Youth Award, Manu is committed to uplifting the lives of marginalized individuals who are now showcasing remarkable performances at various levels across the country.
बहुत से बच्चे ऐसे हैं जिनके पिताजी सब्जी का ठेला चलाते हैं, बहुत से बच्चे ऐसे हैं कि किसी के फादर तो ऑटो रिक्शा चलाते हैं, या फिर बहुत से अलग अलग डिफरेंट बैकग्राउंड से बच्चे हैं, पर सबका एम एक ही है कि उनको स्पोर्ट्स के लिए कुछ अच्छा करना है। जो मैंने कठिनाइयाँ झेली है वो बाकी लोगों को नहीं झेलनी पड़े कठिनाई, तो उसके लिए ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा युवाओं को कितना प्रेरित कर सकता हूँ उसके लिए मैं पूरा प्रयास करता हूँ, और भगवान ने चाहा तो हमेशा ये प्रयास करता रहूँगा।
Megha Patel, an instructor at the academy, emphasizes the unshakable confidence the children place in Manu's capability to tackle any obstacle they encounter. This sentiment is echoed by students who attribute their notable successes in competitions to Manu's guidance. With his mentorship and encouragement, students have unlocked their potential and triumphed in competitions at various levels.
जब भी किसी बच्चे को किसी भी चीज़ की नीड हुई तो उनका सीधा टारगेट ये होता है मनु सर होंगे तो सॉल्व हो जाएगा सारा प्रॉब्लम। तो जितनी भी प्रॉब्लम है वो सर के थ्रू हम लोग सारी चीज़ें सॉल्व कर लेते हैं। इवन अभी बच्चों को साइकिल्स दिलवाई गई हैं जो नेशनल प्लेयर रह चुके हैं उन बच्चों को, और जो पुअर फैमिली से आते हैं उनके लिए भी बहुत कुछ करते हैं।
मैं इस एकेडमी में पिछले 3 साल से प्रैक्टिस कर रही हूँ। अभी पिछले साल मैंने दिल्ली नेशनल राजस्थान स्टेट में 3rd पोजीशन प्राप्त की थी। उसके बाद दिल्ली नेशनल भी पार्टिसिपेट किया था। और मनु सर मैं 3 साल से प्रैक्टिस करा रही हूँ, इनके साथ मैंने 3 साल से प्रैक्टिस की है और मैंने नेशनल ट्रैम्पोलिन में भी ब्रॉन्ज मेडल लिया है। और मेरे पापा ऑटो ड्राइवर है, इसके बावजूद भी मनु सर ने मेरी काफ़ी हेल्प की है इस चीज़ में, और मैं आज जो भी हूँ इस पोजीशन तक ये सब मनु सर की वजह से।
Operating a youth club Yuva Sathi Sangathan, Manu extends his support to hundreds of children from ragpicker backgrounds, offering them opportunities for growth in cultural, sports and youth development. Through his initiatives, he aims to empower the underprivileged children, providing them with a sense of belonging and purpose. In doing so, Manu not only changes lives but also inspires hope and opportunity for a brighter future. What sets Manu apart is that his efforts extend well beyond the realm of sports, spanning across various sectors within society. Manu Kamboj, recipient of several accolades, is deeply committed to environmental conservation initiatives. He takes proactive steps to raise awareness about the harmful impacts of plastic usage and actively participates in campaigns promoting tea plantation. Moreover, he employs the art of dramatics to effectively communicate and shed light on a variety of societal issues. Manu also dedicates himself to supporting disadvantaged students by nurturing their talents beyond athletics. He specifically focuses on empowering them with additional skills like dance tailored to their unique abilities. Manu's efforts have earned him widespread recognition, particularly for his philanthropic endeavors such as providing free sports equipment to students in need. With his unwavering dedication and compassionate heart, Manu Kamboj leaves an indelible mark on society, reminding us all of the profound impact one individual can make in shaping a better world for generations to come.
Manu Kamboj's commitment to empowering youth eliminates a path of hope and opportunity. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Goodbye and take care.